Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. In this video, I'd like to discuss why it was that the Conservatives voted down a motion in Parliament that was intended to thank the emergency services and others for helping deal with the flooding recently and carry out an investigation into the factors that could teach us lessons for the future. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, then please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, earlier this week, a motion was put forward in Parliament which covered two things. There were two aspects of it. The first of which was to thank the emergency services and volunteers and others who helped combat the floods while Boris Johnson was hiding in a fridge again. Now, of course, you may have seen reports saying, Conservatives vote down motion to thank the emergency services for helping with the floods. The motion was from Labour. It was actually a cunning bit of politics to make the Conservatives look particularly bad, because if you wanted to be critical of the Conservatives, you could lead with that sort of angle. But that's not why it was voted down. The Conservatives don't mind thanking people. They've no objection to thanking people. Thanking people is cheap. They like cheap. It's the second aspect of the motion that the government absolutely did not want to accept. So the second part, which was the real motion really, was that there should be an independent investigation into the floods, the factors that led to the damage caused by the flooding, and if there are any lessons to be learned. So why would the government order their MPs to vote against that? After all, the floods have wrecked lives and negatively impacted the economy. It's not even party politics. It's not in any party's natural instincts that homes and businesses be damaged by flooding. What's the harm in carrying out an investigation and learning lessons? In fact, isn't it just a natural thing to do? Why would there even need to be a vote in Parliament? In fact, the Tory MPs, when the result was read out, actually cheered it. I mean, that was a particularly callous touch. Well, the reason is that, yes, floods are a natural disaster. They're going to happen. However, whether heavy rains cause flooding, and when they do, the severity of that flooding can have a great deal to do with government policy. Simple enough, flooding occurs when there's nowhere for the rainwater to go. And, there are also certain areas which, when there's going to be flooding, are going to be more prone to flooding. Were there to be an independent review, it would point to a number of factors, I'm sure. But it would absolutely inevitably point out that over the last 10 years, in order to cut costs, the current Conservative government has been encouraging building on floodplains, areas which are bloody likely to get flooded out. The Environment Agency has been calling on building on floodplains to stop for some time, completely ignored by the government. And the effect of this is not only are more homes being affected by flooding, because you're building where the floods are going to happen, where you know they're going to happen, but it also means that the people who get their houses there or live there are going to struggle to get insurance. Many indeed are. After all, insurance companies aren't all that keen on insuring people who live in homes that are almost certain to be flooded on a fairly regular basis. Some places are getting flooded every year now. Interestingly, Sir John Redwood, who is a particularly obnoxious Tory Brexiteer MP, if you didn't already know, was saying just last month how foolish it was to build on floodplains, how it was affecting his constituency, and he had been urging the government to change their policy in this regard. Now, you would think, that's natural behaviour. An MP is sticking up for his constituency. That is what MPs are supposed to do. It's affecting his constituency. That's what he's saying. You would have thought that when an opportunity came around to do something about it, that he would do that. Along comes a motion that says there should be an investigation. We need to try and mitigate the damage caused by flooding. We know we're going to get rained on quite a lot. It rains in Britain. That's a thing. And we want to make sure that where there is a lot of rainwater, that we have as few homes and businesses flooded out as possible. Can we do that, please? John Redwood should have been all over it. But when it came down to it, he voted against this motion. Voted against it. Almost every Conservative MP did. And this is typical of politics, I'm afraid. MPs will stick up for the interests of their constituents, of course, when all it means doing is standing up and saying something in Parliament. Oh, this thing is hurting my constituents. Then he gets to go back and say, look, there you go, I've done my job, I said a thing for you. But too few back their words up with voting actions when that opportunity arises, as it did. And it's not just him. There are any number of Conservative MPs who have constituents affected by this. Only one Conservative MP voted for this motion. The rest towing the line, knowing how badly it's going to hurt some of their constituents in the future. On a regular basis, some of these are in constituencies where, as I say, you get flooding every year. Not always in exactly the same place, but in their constituency. And it's very much like keeping a bad situation going, because somehow that's better than just standing up and saying, do you know what? Yeah, this policy isn't worth it. We need to change it. So, although we're not going to blame the government for the rains, I mean, any links to climate change you may wish to make, we can't really pin on a single government. We're still going to keep making future floods worse by refusing to face up to the ways in which policy has turned a drama into a crisis. So hopefully that explains what might seem baffling behaviour on the part of the government, particularly callous behaviour on the part of the government indeed. If you found the video interesting, please click the like button if you'd like to support the channel further. And please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.